Hi guys, it's Sherry. Today we're going to be making a statement necklace using our Spiderweb stamp here. I love this stamp. I just received this in the mail, and since October is coming up, I wanted to do a video for you as soon as possible. So I just kind of created one, playing around, and now that I know exactly how I want to create this, I'm going to show you how to do it. So the first thing I did was I took my black Primo clay and I conditioned it real well, but you're gonna wanna make sure that you can, it's very, very pliable and you can mush it. See how I'm smearing it onto my stamp here? You are gonna want to make sure that you can smear this completely. So it has to be soft. It cannot be partially conditioned. So run your clay through your pasta machine, warm it up in your hands, do whatever you need to do to make sure that this is pliable and that you can smear it, because that's how you're going to get this clay to stick into this stamp. It takes a little bit of time to make sure that you get the entire thing covered, but trust me, this is going to be worth the 5 minutes that you're going to spend doing this. And you see how I'm just really pushing on there, and I'm just mushing it all in there, and I'm making sure those lines are covered. You don't want to miss the lines, because then your spider web won't look as nice as it should. So fill up your entire piece here. And the reason I'm telling you to smear it is because sometimes when you just lay it on there and you go to cut it off, it lifts up the entire spider web. So now, like, see, I'm lifting this up and it's not sticking in there. But if I smear it, now I'm going to have to actually cut that off. So I'm going to show you. I'm going to cut this. So we're going to take all that old clay off at the top. And then we have all our lines filled. And you're going to want to make sure you get all that extra clay off of there. Do little sections at a time so you can see what you miss, because sometimes you miss things. You can see I missed some there. So I need to make sure, for me to get my entire spider web, that I am covering up all of this. So now once you have it covered, just really look over it and see if you missed any spots. Like I can see I missed a bunch of spots here. And it's really important to make sure that you are getting all these lines filled so your piece looks really nice and full with the webs. Okay. So now that's what your stamp should look like. So beautiful. I do see a little piece right here that I missed. I am a stickler with making sure that I'm getting this whole thing. There we go. All right, so now I'm just going to pick up all my extra clay here. Okay, so I did my last one purple, and I'll show that to you after it's done in the oven. Here's a little preview of what that will look like. And I don't want two of the same. I like to really just make one piece of each kind. So I am going to use this hot pink because I like this color, and I think the black will really stand out where I don't have to put silver or anything else on it. So I will take my roller. I'm going to roll this out just enough that I can run it through my pasta machine and condition it very well. All right, so I will run this through on my thickest setting. That's a really cool color. I like that a lot. So now I'm going to take my stamp. I'm going to flip it upside down. And I'm very carefully going to make sure that I press down on this and get that spider web to stick to this clay. So you're going to want to put some pressure on this. And then you could lift up the edge and see if it sticks. And if anything is not sticking, you just push it back down and start pushing it back down, like press it again. Yeah, quite a bit. Okay. Look how fantastic that looks. I love that. Absolutely beautiful. Okay, so now I chose this cutter set. And all this stuff is from Create Along, so I can put links in there if you're interested. And I love this main spider web to be my centerpiece. You could also do like half of it if you wanted to as a centerpiece, but I want my spider web right in the middle of my necklace. So I will cut that out. And I'll start cutting out my other pieces here. And I get rid of all this excess here. So I can kind of see it a little bit better if it's smaller. And I definitely want to make a pair of earrings. So I will cut out 2 extra small ones here. All right, so I do want my back to be black. So I am going to roll this out to my second thinnest setting. I'm going to lay this down, and then I'm going to put each one of my pieces down on the black. I'm trying to make sure there's no air pockets underneath where I'm laying my pieces down. All right, now lightly press them down. Make sure they're stuck to your black. And then recut your pieces out. And then you'll have your black back. And look how beautiful that looks. Now with the purple, I put some silver rub-on metallic. With these, because the color is much lighter, I am not going to put anything. I'm going to leave it completely black. So now I will place these in the oven, 275 for a half hour. All my stuff is Primo clay. If you are not using Primo clay, make sure that you follow your directions. So whatever temperature and however long, that's what you are going to do if you are not doing Primo clay. And then we will return. All right, guys, so my pieces are out of the oven. They're cooled off, and I absolutely love them. So I wanted to show you the difference between the purple and the fuchsia, I believe this is called. So with the purple, because it was darker, I had to put silver over it. And with the fuchsia, I was able to leave the web black. So my next step is, I'm just going to focus on one of these necklaces right now, and then this one I'll do at a later date. But I want to do the back of these with a stencil. So the very first thing I need to do is just kind of shave these down, like sand them down. And I'm just going to use my nail file to get all the little rough edges off. And it doesn't take a lot to do that. These cutters do a beautiful job, so it makes it so much easier when you have to clean up edges. You can see some of these don't even need any cleaning, but I'm going to do a quick little sand job anyway, just to make sure nothing is loose on the edges, because I want to put some paint on these, so I want to make sure that nothing is going to kind of get in the way. Okay, so I have my silk screen here, and I want to lay it down so I could get the best impression. And you have to, because this is now dry clay, to do that we have to make sure that this stencil is not going to move. Okay, and the best way to do that is to use one of these brushes that we could just kind of pound down on it. So we want to hold our stencil in place the best that we can, get the paint onto our brush, and then just go up and down and not move that stencil at all. We want to keep it in place the best that we can. It's so much easier when you have your clay still unbaked, but we don't have that option right now, so we are going to work with it the best that we can. See, that looks pretty cool. You see that? So that's going to really just be an extra little detail on our piece. And I would have done this before I baked it, but because I had the webs on there, I did not want to distort my webs or flatten them out. So I decided to do it afterwards, and it is a little harder, but it is doable. The trick is making sure nothing moves. All right, so now rinse out your silk screen. Okay, we'll let that completely dry. And this paint does dry really fast, so it won't be long. But you can see how cool that web looks. So I think this just gives it a little extra. And see, it's already dry. Okay. So my next step is we are going to drill our holes. So I like to kind of set it up and see how exactly it is going to lay. Which ones are going to be my earrings? I'm going to go with that one. Let's see. And that one for the earrings. So it's going to go like that, okay? So now I have my drill, and I am going to drill my holes, and I do not go too close to your edge. I'm going to go about that width apart from my edge. And I'm going to go straight across. Make sure that they are leveled. And I like to hold these up next to each other so I know where my next hole is going to go. So I'm going to keep everything nice and even. And then once again, go straight across. And you can hold them up straight like this as well, but I like to kind of keep them on the, you know, on a curve, because then you can really line them up perfectly. And then the earrings, we'll just put a hole right in the middle on the top. At this point, we want to make sure all the dust is off of our pieces. And to make sure everything is, I'm going to take my little brush and I'm going to go over my pieces and just make sure everything is completely free of any debris from drilling the holes. So I have my resin. And I have my sparkles here. And then I have my little stick. So I'm going to take my resin, and I'm not going to put too thick of a layer on. And I'm actually thinking I should just use my paintbrush for this. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use my paintbrush. So I always cover my paintbrush in like saran wrap. That way it helps protect it from anything getting on it or it getting on anything. So I'm going to take my resin and I'm just going to spread it right over everything. And you can see it's not a very thick layer, but it is thick enough that it will protect my piece and really just bring all the detail out. So now I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to stick it into my little pieces here, and I'm going to kind of spread it around, put some of that off to the side, and then I'm going to spread that and really break those pieces up. And this will give me a nice little shine. If you got big chunks, break them up, because we don't want the big chunks. We want this all over our piece in small pieces. And then I will wipe off the extra there. And that's why I always work on like a mat. This way, if I have to do something like that, I can. But look how gorgeous that's going to be. Absolutely beautiful. And for my main piece here, I have these tiny little spiders. And I want to add one spider to my necklace right onto the spider web. And I'm going to put resin right over its feet and make sure that it will be secure on there. And we'll just stick him right up there. And then let's do our next one. Now I will do the lighter, but I will do the lighter last, because as you let your resin set, the bubbles kind of come to the top. So it is better to let your stuff set for a while before you run over or run the lighter over. Now sometimes I'll do the lighter right away if I only have one little piece and I'm impatient on waiting. But for the most part, if you have like pieces like this, try to let them just sit for a while. Now I'm going to try to get up some of this glitter, and then I will put this glitter right on my piece here. I don't know why this one is not breaking up. There we go. And I know I'm getting resin in my holes. Normally I try to avoid them, but I am going to put resin on the back, so I am not overly worried about it. I will just re-drill my holes. These are going to be so fun and so perfect for October. Honestly, you could wear this anytime, but since October is coming up, I really want to just make a fun statement piece for you all that I really thought you guys would just enjoy. And if you have a mat like this, all that resin that I'm kind of laying on the mat now will peel right off. And they're perfect for resin. So perfect. So I'm going to get a little bit more of this. This is for nails, this glitter here. It's all for like doing your nails. My daughter is now getting into wanting to learn how to do her fingernails, so I bought her all this stuff, and this is one of the things, and I bought an extra one because I thought it was so pretty that I really wanted to incorporate it into my clay. So know that you can use nail art on your clay. And you can see I'm not dipping my brush completely into that because I don't want the resin all over. I am just getting just enough on my brush, and whatever sticks to my brush, that's what I'm pulling out. I'm not going crazy and just dabbing it all in there, because these are big pieces, but as you see, they break up. So you could get just a couple big pieces and really just fill your entire necklace up with a beautiful look by just using a couple pieces of this gorgeous glitter. And always make sure that you have something to hold on to your piece. Like I'm using this wonderful pointer. I love this pointer. And if you don't have something, you have to use your hands, please wear a pair of gloves, because you don't want resin all over your hands. It's not good for your skin. So always use a pointer. I don't wear gloves a lot of times because I have tools to avoid me from touching it. Now sometimes I will get it on my hands and then I regret not wearing the gloves. So that's why I really started using my pointer tools and really paying close attention to what I am doing so I don't get that resin on my skin. Look how gorgeous this looks. Oh, I am so thrilled with this. Now I'm going to get my sides right away. And I'm just very lightly going over. And I'm not going to get the entire side because I am going to use my paint stick over that. But I want to make sure that the top sides are covered. Because normally with my paint sticks, I will go on the top of my pieces. But because I have the webs, I'm not going to go over the top of my pieces. So I want to make sure that I have that resin on the tops of my sides here. Okay, so now I'm very happy with the way my glitter looks. Let me stick this over here. Put my lid on. Now I'm going to take my lighter. I'm going to go over my pieces, make sure there's no bubbles anywhere. And I love how you could really just see the bubbles pop when they're there. It's actually really fun to watch. Okay, so now I'm going to put this under my UV light for a few minutes. And look how beautiful. How cool is that? I mean, talk about a fun piece. I absolutely love this. And you can see the little spider there. So now I am going to resin my backs quick. And this time, I am going to put a bunch of my, what do you call it? My glitter right on, because I don't want a lot of glitter over here. I just want a little bit. This is going to be a very thin coat. So first I want to make sure, oops, that I get my brush a little bit wet so I could grab some of this glitter. And then I will brush over this. Because I want just a tiny, tiny bit of glitter on the back here. So you can see it broke up just enough that I have those tiny little pieces. So a little sparkle here and a little sparkle there. And if it sticks to my mat, I'm just going to take my little pointer and then I will break it up, and then I can get it onto my brush where I can smooth it onto my piece. Need a little bit more on this one. So you can see there's not a lot of glitter on here, but just enough to give it that really pretty shine. And if you feel like you need more, just take that extra and then you can put it on there. I'm gonna go over it once with my lighter. Okay, now I'll put that under my light. All right, so while that is under my UV light, I am gonna kind of start prepping my necklace here, my chain. So I have, well, this is a new roll of chain. So what I do to measure it is I'm going to take this chain, I'm going to wrap it around the back of my neck, and then I am going to stop right where I want my necklace to lay. So say this is my neck. I'm going to lay it around the back of my neck, and then I'm going to lay this right where I want it to stop on my chest, and then that is going to be my point of how I know how long my piece needs to be. I used to measure it. I no longer measure my pieces because sometimes they're still a little bit longer than I would like. Sometimes they're a little bit shorter. So by laying it on my neck, I can maneuver it exactly how I want this piece to lay on my chest. So right here is where I know I want my piece to be cut. So I will get my pliers here, or my cutters, and I'm going to cut that, okay? Next, what I do is I will take this piece. I'm going to get two little pieces of metal. So I have these like little pins. And I am going to take and put them at the end piece. And then I can lay this out and find exactly where my middle is. Just by holding it straight here, I can find exactly where my middle is. So I know right here, oops, right there is my middle. So now I'll take that, hold it in my hand, and then I will cut right there. And now I know my piece will be even on both sides. My next step is I am going to kind of prep everything ahead of time. So I will put on my jump ring on one side here. And then I'm going to take my other small jump ring. I'll put that on here, on this end. And then I get my clasp. I'll add that right away. And I'll close all that up. And now I have my 2 pieces of chain that I need ready to go. Let me check my pieces. They are cured. Look how beautiful. I love this set. This is a really fun set. It has a little lump there. Let me sand it down. If you get like a little bubble, all you have to do is take your file and sand it down. And because it is on the end, I will just paint right over that. So I do not need to resin it again to hide the scuff, because the scuff will be covered up with the paint marker. So now it's flat again. Okay, so I have my chrome marker, and I am just going to go right over the edge, right on the sides, not the edge. And this will finish off my piece beautifully. These details of just doing the sides here really make such a huge difference, I believe. I think it just finishes your pieces off so nice, and it really makes it worth taking the time just to do this little section here. It makes it just more professional looking, I think. And these will take a little bit of time to dry. So when I am finished here, I'll let these dry for about 15-20 minutes to make sure that they are completely dry, because you don't want to touch them and then get the silver mark all over your piece here. So before you do anything else, really just make sure the silver is dry. And I always give it about 15-20 minutes. Just to make sure. Sometimes, honestly, it takes a little bit longer with this particular marker, and I don't know why. Sometimes they'll dry super fast, and other times it'll take like a good hour. And I don't know if it has to do with the weather, humidity. I'm not sure how like markers really work when it comes to that stuff. But one of my last projects that I did, I checked it in about an hour and it was still tacky, and it drove me nuts because I just wanted to finish my project and I couldn't. So I ended up just letting it sit overnight. So I'm really hoping that my weather is good, or whatever is causing that issue, because one other time, or a few other times, I used this and within 15-20 minutes everything was dry. So it was just that one time took so long for it to dry. Now I don't know if it's because I did the complete back and it was a larger area, but to me that doesn't make sense because it's the same thickness of paint that I'm putting on. I'm not putting it on any thicker, so not sure. So hopefully in 15-20 minutes those will be completely dry and we can finish this necklace up. All right, guys, so everything is dried. I really am super happy with these. These look beautiful. They're just absolutely beautiful. The backs look great. The front is stunning. I love that little spider. So our next step is going to be to start putting our jump rings on. Oh, nope, I lie. Our next step is going to be to re-drill our holes, because now we have resin in our holes. So we want to make sure that our holes are nice and open. And let me put down something to catch all. Oh, so I wanted to show you guys with the mats. Look how easy. See how it all just peels right off? all that resin. If you have one of these mats, this resin peels right up. Look at that. So fantastic. I love these mats. They're wonderful. You can see all these little marks are from me drilling. That's how often I use these to drill through my pieces to catch all my dirt, basically, shavings. So next I'm going to take my larger jump rings. This is about the size that you will need. And then I will start connecting my pieces. Oops. And make sure they are completely shut. Oh, I stupidly, I did not put these on right. For some reason, I thought that was my large one. I don't know why I thought that. I need my large one on here. There we go. All right, got that one on right this time. I'm actually going to use smaller ones for the end pieces because there's no reason to use those big ones. And then I will attach my chain. Attach my other chain. And then I can close my piece up. And look how gorgeous. Absolutely beautiful. I love this so much. I think this came out just beautiful. All right, so to finish up the earrings now, we just need our 2 jump rings and 2 fish hooks. And I'm actually going to use black for my fish hooks to match my webs. So I want to show you, see how beautiful the sides look? So they look so much nicer. It looks like a nice finished piece that's wrapped in metal. This chrome marker is fantastic. And I always like to turn the bottom of my hoops so I do not have to add an extra jump ring. And then I will close that. If you're going to turn them, make sure you turn them slowly so you do not break them. Because if you do them too fast, they will snap. So make sure you take your time doing them. And there we go. There are our earrings. How beautiful. That glitter really made them so beautiful with the spider webs on the back. So absolutely gorgeous. I love this set. I just think all we really needed was that spider web stamp to fill in some glitter and clay. I mean, and look how gorgeous. You get this beautiful, beautiful necklace and earrings. So I really hope you guys enjoy creating these along with me as much as I enjoy creating them. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and share. I mean, it really does help. I'm trying to really get myself out there, and the only way to do that is if you guys are liking my post and sharing or subscribing. So I really appreciate all the help and support you guys have been giving me. Have a beautiful day, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.